eventually, yeah. No, I think we ran out of time. We're going to do that after lunch.
Gary Bands, Oklahoma. Everybody here is an expert. But let me remind you the definition. X is the symbol of the unknown, and a spurt's a drip under pressure. In a body this size, a gathering this size, there's no doubt no less than a half a dozen issue-oriented agendas that each of us have either actively or certainly support that are in the process of embracing and utilizing the Article 5 authority to move their agendas. And you know what I'm talking about. The Convention of the States, there's a compact deal out there, there's a balanced budget amendment, you fill in the blanks. There are several. But what we've got to understand is the nature and the purpose of what we're doing is to rise above all of those individual agendas. And if you're a part of one of those, keep working. We all come together at the point of understanding that Article 5 is a constitutional vehicle whereby the states have that equal standing with Congress to do one thing and that one thing alone, and that is to propose an amendment or amendments. And should any one of those efforts garner enough support to have resolution applications pending before Congress to aggregate and determine that 34-state threshold, should they come together at that point and Congress, using the term from the Constitution, shall call and give the time and the place, and a convention of the states be brought into existence, and each of our states respectively then officially designating a group of commissioners or delegates and giving them a specific commission, and they convene, their first order of business will be to establish the rules that they will adhere to. So rather than let that group at some time, date certain in the future, be convened, and they sit around in a room like this and look at one another and say, okay, now what do we do? That's what we're doing, knowing full well that we run the risk of them not accepting anything we do in the meantime, but hoping that because we are adding authenticity to it by making it bipartisan and encouraging legislative leadership across the 50-state spectrum to bring us together, we can do some of that work unofficially as, for lack of a better term, a giant task force that will have a set of recommendations in the form of specific rules. And whatever vehicle we choose to do, whether it's convene one of our own unofficially or do it through individual states that would adopt what we are recommending, whatever that format happens to be, at least at that point, they can't sit around and say, we don't have it, let's start all over and try to reinvent the wheel. We will have done something. We will have taken the initiative. We're not waiting on somebody else. We're beginning to plow the field and get it ready to plant the seed that will grow into the harvest. A week ago, across the country, we recognized the 70th anniversary of D-Day. That monumental event of World War II that most would refer to as the turning point of the war. Over 5,000 ships, 160,000 soldiers, airmen, Marines, storming the beaches of Normandy. It was months in the planning. we can't begin to comprehend the magnitude of the work and the effort that went together to bring about that specific event, as horrible as it was in the toll that it took on American and Allied lives. But on that fateful day, the Allied commander, Dwight D. Eisenhower, who had the ultimate responsibility to put that team together and to bring that game plan into position, was in a position to make the final decision. And he did so by simply saying, "Let's go." Fast forward, 9/11, 2001. No pre-planning, no advance warning, all of a sudden caught up in the heat of the moment, knowing their fate. Todd Beamer and others on that flight understood that it was time to act. And with very little fanfare, the words that echo in our ears from that fateful day: "Let's roll." It's about time to go to work, people, colleagues, peers, friends. You're going to be given some instructions. We may or may not be able to go to our rooms before we go to lunch, but when we come back from lunch, we have a very aggressive agenda laid out in front of us. We have a lot of work to do. I don't know how much we can get done in the short time that we have here, but it's critically important that you are here and that you are a part of this team. I have one more time that I can run in Oklahoma. I've got a primary a week from Tuesday. So no doubt I won't be in this process too much longer. But I can't wait. I am here. And I'm going to participate, and I'm going to give, and I'm going to contribute as the Lord gives me the energy and the will to do. And as are you. So, Mr. Speaker, with some instructions, let's roll.
All right, thanks, Gary. Thank you. Okay, we are just coming up on our noon break, and I appreciate everyone's attention. I really appreciate the dialogue, because this is a work in progress, and if we can coalesce here and agree on some folks. Was there someone else who wanted to speak before we broke? I didn't want to leave anybody out. Okay. Skip, can you have someone come in with the signs so we know what we're going to do when we come back from lunch? I think we can probably get back by. Yeah, we'll do that. You still want to do a 1 o'clock lunch? We all can be back by 1 o'clock instead of 1:30, given the enormousness of our issue, right? So let's try to be back in the from lunch in the committee rooms with the co-chairs by 1 o'clock. I know your schedule says 1:30. If you look to the back of the room, the committee that you're on, you'll see a committee sign right there. There's the Rules and Procedures Committee, and the other folks got the signs. You can walk maybe and find your committee rooms before you go off to lunch. It might be a little bit easier. Our volunteers will help you do that. A couple other announcements. I'd like to ask the 6 co-chairs to meet with Representative Kapinga right under the American flag. Also, the Democratic delegates and appointees who are here come and meet appropriately under the blue flag over here. I didn't think about that till just now. And Jason, Senator Holzman from Missouri, would like to chat with you a few minutes. If you would all, the Democratic members only over here on the underneath the blue flag. That's it, and go ahead and we'll break for lunch. Thank you. If you're not sure of your committee assignments, flip your name card over. It's on the back of your card. Okay?